Look at your life for a second. Be honest. How many times have you played the helpful one, the reliable one, the always available one, and still ended up invisible? You say yes, you listen, you support, you cover other people's mess. You answer messages fast, you stay late, you give rides, you lend money. And what do you get in return? Excuses, delays, being left on read, being invited last, or not at all. When people are bored, they remember you. When they need something, they remember you. But when you need respect, suddenly everyone forgets. Now, compare that with the quiet one, you know. The person who rarely speaks, doesn't overshare, doesn't chase, doesn't bend over backwards for anyone. They leave messages undelivered. They don't explain themselves. They're not rude, but they're distant. Notice how people move differently around them. They don't joke as recklessly. They don't cancel as easily. They think twice before wasting that person's time. Same room, same world, completely different treatment. That difference is not an accident. The world doesn't respect pure kindness. It respects power, boundaries, and the ability to walk away. You were told that if you're good, patient, understanding, one day people will see your heart and give you what you deserve. But life runs on a darker operating system. Respect is not about how nice your heart is. It's about how costly it feels to lose you, or how dangerous it feels to disrespect you. Machiavelli wrote that if you cannot be both loved and feared, it is safer to be feared than loved. But he also warned, never become hated. That's your line. You are not here to become a villain or an abuser. You are here to become untouchable, calm, fair, but not to be played with. If you don't understand how respect works, you will keep blaming bad luck and wrong people while repeating the same signals that mark you as an easy target. Other people already know these rules, consciously or not, and they use them. In this video, you're going to learn 9 ruthless inner disciplines that quietly rewrite how everyone reads you. Once you see these patterns, you can't unsee them, and you'll never look at your own niceness the same way again. And here's the uncomfortable truth. As long as you cling to the fantasy that goodness automatically creates respect, you will keep volunteering for your own humiliation. So we're going to do something different. Before I hand you these 9 ruthless tools, I'm going to redefine what ruthless really means for you, so you don't become the monster you're trying to escape. You'll learn to be sharp without losing your humanity. Before we go further, you need to understand what I mean by ruthless, because if you get this wrong, you either reject your own power or become the thing you hate. Ruthless here does not mean heartless, sadistic, or abusive. It means you are relentless about your boundaries. It means your self-respect is non-negotiable. It means you are willing to disappoint people rather than betray yourself. Most so-called good people never allow themselves this level of firmness. They think saying no is cruel, that walking away is cold, that emotional distance is toxic. That programming is exactly why they get used, drained, and quietly disrespected by people who already play a darker game. So hear this clearly. We are not here to turn you into a manipulator. Emotional abuse, guilt trips, exploiting innocent people, playing with someone's trauma, all of that is weakness, not strength. It backfires. It creates enemies and a chaotic life. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must learn how not to be good when necessary. For you, that doesn't mean harming others. It means protecting yourself when kindness is being weaponized against you. These 9 ruthless tricks are defensive weapons and inner disciplines. They exist so you stop being the easiest person in the room to lie to drain, to take for granted. Used correctly, they do not make you colder for no reason. They make you quietly sharper, so the respect you get is real. Next, we'll define the real shape of respect. Most people think respect belongs to the loudest person in the room, the one flexing, bragging, posting every tiny achievement like a billboard. That's not real power, that's noise. Look closely, and you'll notice something. The people who are actually taken seriously are rarely the ones screaming for attention. Real, quiet respect belongs to the person who talks less, watches more, and doesn't seem desperate for anyone's approval. They're calm, observant, concise, hard to read, and yet somehow everyone keeps an eye on them. That silent power. Quiet respect is built on 3 perceptions. First, you don't need anyone's approval. You choose who gets access to you. People feel you are selective, not starving for validation. Second, you control your emotions. You don't explode. You don't beg. You don't perform. That emotional stability makes you unpredictable to manipulators, because their usual buttons don't work on you. Third, you have options and standards. You act like someone who can replace any situation that disrespects them, and people sense that losing you has a cost. Machiavelli understood that people judge mostly by appearances and signals, not your inner intentions. You might believe you're kind and loyal, but what they read is your tone, your reactions, your availability, your willingness to tolerate disrespect. Those are your signals, and they silently instruct everyone how to treat you. The 9 ruthless tricks you're about to learn are really 9 forms of signal control. You will still be you, but the way you act and react will change, and people's behavior toward you will shift almost automatically. Right now, you're probably sending signals of weakness without even knowing it, over-explaining, laughing off disrespect, chasing people who wouldn't miss you. Once you fix your signals, others won't even know why they suddenly feel more careful around you. And that starts from one place, your emotional state. If anyone can easily push your feelings around, they will never truly respect you. So the first shift is simple to understand, hard to live. You must become emotionally still, even when everything around you tries to provoke movement. Emotional ice is the first layer of quiet respect, because if anyone can jerk your emotions around, they will never see you as their equal. Emotional ice means you don't flinch at small insults, tests, or provocations. Your face stays composed, your shoulders loose, your breathing slow, even when someone is clearly trying to get a rise out of you. Most people test each other without even realizing it. Little jokes about your appearance, jabs about your job, subtle disrespect in front of others. They're scanning for softness. The reactive person becomes entertainment. The unreactive person becomes slightly intimidating. Picture this. A coworker drops a sarcastic remark about you in front of everyone. The naive version of you defends yourself, overshares, or nervously laughs along to not kill the vibe. The ruthless version simply looks at them for a second, calm, unreadable, and then either gives a short, neutral reply or changes the subject as if their attempt barely registered. One response says, "Your opinion controls my state." The other says, "You are background noise." Machiavelli understood that a ruler must appear steady, not easily shaken by fortune or insult. The same is true for you. When your face and tone jump at every jab, people instinctively rank you lower in the hierarchy. You are easy to provoke, easy to read, and therefore easy to control. When you practice emotional ice, you become harder to map. People hesitate before using you as a punchline because they can't predict your inner world. From there, the next step is deciding what you actually care about and what no longer deserves any of your emotional investment. That shift is where real respect starts. Strategic indifference is what happens when you stop needing people to respond the way you wish and start responding to how they actually are. It means you don't beg for validation, replies, or inclusion. You don't chase explanations from someone who's already shown you where you rank on their list. When people are distant, flaky, or subtly disrespectful, you don't panic, argue, or plead for reassurance. You quietly adjust their access to you. This is where most people fail. The approval addict double texts, writes paragraphs, tries to fix other people's moods, and fights for a place in lives that clearly don't prioritize them. The indifferent one does the opposite. They don't fight for a spot in someone's world. They simply withdraw their energy and let absence speak. Imagine someone who takes hours or days to answer you or constantly cancels plans. The naive response is anxiety, overthinking, and chasing for certainty. The ruthless response is simple. You match their energy or less, and you shift your time elsewhere without drama. Machiavellian logic is clear. People value what is hard to obtain and easy to lose. When you act like you have no options, you teach them you are cheap. When you embody indifference, you signal that your presence is voluntary, not desperate. If people sense you need them, they automatically rank themselves above you. When they sense you are willing to walk away quietly, they start working harder for your reactions without even knowing why. Once that inner detachment is in place, the next step is to master how you speak and how you stay silent, because silence, in the right moments, becomes a weapon sharper than any argument. Strategic silence is one of the simplest ways to flip control in any interaction, yet nobody practices it. It means you don't rush to fill every gap. You don't nervously talk just to avoid awkwardness, and you let other people explain, justify, and reveal themselves while you stay composed. Most people are terrified of silence. The moment there's a pause, they start oversharing, over-explaining, apologizing, or leaking information that weakens their position. The person who is at peace with silence feels more powerful and contained because they are not driven by the urge to be constantly understood. Picture a negotiation or a conversation. The naive version of you keeps talking, justifying, trying to convince the other side. Every word gives them more data to use against you. The ruthless version states their point once, clearly and calmly, then goes quiet. You hold eye contact, you breathe, and you watch the other person scramble to fill the gap, revealing what they're afraid of, what they want, and how badly they need you to move. Machiavelli would approve of this. Rulers who reveal less and observe more are harder to predict, and therefore harder to overthrow. If you can't handle silence, people will always be able to drag you into saying too much, defending what doesn't need defending, or apologizing for having standards. But when silence becomes comfortable for you, it turns into a rare, dangerous skill over the long term. The whole room starts adjusting to your pace instead of you chasing theirs. From here, the next step is deciding what behavior you will no longer quietly absorb, because your silence means nothing unless it's backed by real boundaries and consequences. Hard boundaries are where your respect stops being a wish and becomes a fact. A boundary is not a speech. It is a line backed by behavior. You decide what you will and will not tolerate, and when that line is crossed, you do not start another long argument. You quietly change how you show up. Soft boundaries are what keep you stuck. You threaten to leave, but never do. You say, "Don't do that again," 10 times. You give emotional lectures, dramatic texts, and exhausted explanations, but your actions never shift. So people learn the truth. Your pain is loud. Your consequences are silent. Picture a friend or partner who repeatedly shows up late, lies, or disrespects your time. The naive version of you complains, argues, forgives, and resets over and over. The ruthless version reduces availability, stops making plans they can ruin, removes certain privileges, and does it calmly and consistently, without begging them to understand. Machiavellian logic is simple. It is better to deliver one decisive consequence than 100 small, nagging ones that lose all meaning. When your reactions never change, no one believes you mean what you say. When your reactions do change, even once, everyone remembers. Quiet consequences turn you from an easy option into a line that people are careful not to cross twice. But boundaries are only half of respect. Sometimes, you need to look someone in the eye and name the behavior directly, proving that you're not just withdrawing in silence, you're also unafraid of tension. Because real respect is earned when people see you will protect your line, and you are willing to face discomfort to defend your standards fully. Calculated confrontation is the moment you stop pretending you didn't hear the disrespect. It means you address the issue directly, using simple language without raising your voice or losing your composure. No yelling, no name-calling, no theatrics. Just clarity. Most people only know two modes: swallow it and resent, or explode later in a wall of texts and accusations. Both make you look weak. Picture someone talking over you in a meeting or dropping a disrespectful joke about you in front of others. The naive version of you laughs awkwardly, stays quiet, or waits until later to send an angry message when the audience is gone. The ruthless version handles it on the spot. You look at them and say, once, calmly, "Don't interrupt me," or "That's not how you talk to me," and then you continue like nothing happened. That calm, controlled correction creates a shock. People are conditioned to expect either aggression or submission, not firm composure. Machiavelli would tell you that a leader must correct behavior early, before it grows into something that can no longer be contained. Every time you let something slide, you silently announce that you are safe to disrespect. Every time you confront cleanly, you send a different message to everyone watching. You are polite, but you are not passive. If you never confront, people assume you are too scared to stand up for yourself. When you start practicing calculated confrontation, you don't just change one relationship, you reprogram the room's perception of you. From there, your time and your presence automatically start to feel more valuable, because people now understand there is a cost to mishandling you from this moment forward. Time is the purest signal of value you have, and most people throw it around like it is worthless. Scarcity of time means you are not instantly available to everyone. Your schedule, focus, and priorities come before random demands, last-minute invitations, or needy messages. There is a clear difference between the person who drops everything for every call, favor, or plan, and the person who clearly has a life and a mission. One is on standby for other people's boredom. The other moves on their own path and politely declines or reschedules when something does not fit. Imagine someone who constantly assumes you are free, They text you an hour before, tell you to pull up, or invite you only when their better options are gone. The naive version of you rearranges your life, rushes, and then wonders why you never feel important. The ruthless version says, without guilt, I cannot. I have things scheduled, maybe another time. You do not justify. You do not over-explain. You simply stand on your priorities. Machiavellian logic, again, is simple. People chase what is rare and already committed elsewhere, not what is always waiting around, hoping to be chosen. When you are always available, you train people to see you as background, not priority. When your time becomes a privilege, people start thinking ahead, asking earlier, and planning around you more carefully. Scarcity, when it is real and not faked, tells the world that you take yourself seriously. And once you send that signal, the next question is what parts of you are actually accessible, because respect also grows from what people can never fully reach or know about you anyway. Controlled vulnerability is the art of being real without being exposed. It means you can be honest, but only with people who have proven over time that they are loyal, discreet, and actually invested in you. You do not dump your pain, fears, or darkest secrets on casual acquaintances, co-workers, or someone you just met last month. Oversharers reveal every wound fast, hoping it will create instant bonding or pity. In reality, it creates silent judgment, gossip, and leverage against them. The controlled version of you shares selectively, slowly, and mostly in the form of facts and actions, not raw emotional outpouring. In a new social group or workplace, the naive move is to overshare your traumas, your financial problems, your relationship drama, thinking vulnerability equals connection. The ruthless move is different. You stay polite, neutral, even warm, but you share light, surface-level pieces of yourself and spend more time observing who complains, who gossips, and who stays solid. Machiavellian thinking is clear here. If people fully know your fears and desires, they know exactly where to push, how to flatter you, and how to break you. When you bleed information, you become easy to manipulate and easy to disrespect behind your back. Controlled vulnerability is armor. It doesn't mean being fake. It means understanding that not everyone has earned a front-row seat to your inner world. When people can't fully read you, they guess, they respect the mystery, and they are far more careful about how they speak on your name, because they never feel like they completely have you. That gap is where your power lives, and where real respect quietly starts to grow inside them. Walk away. Power is the quiet threat that changes how everyone treats you, even when you never mention it out loud. It means you are building your life, so you are not fully dependent on any one person, job, or situation to feel secure. You are willing to lose short-term comfort to protect long-term self-respect. When you lack this, you cling. You tolerate things you swore you never would, simply because you are terrified of being alone, broke, or starting again. People feel that fear, and that is exactly when they stop respecting you. Picture a workplace where you are consistently underpaid and disrespected. The naive response is to beg, overperform, explain why you deserve better, and wait for them to finally see your worth. The ruthless response is to quietly prepare, build skills, network, stack savings, then leave when you are ready without a dramatic speech and without begging them to understand. Same in a relationship where your boundaries are ignored. The naive version keeps arguing and forgiving. The ruthless version stops trying to convince and simply exits. Machiavelli warned that a prince must never become so dependent on others that they hold his fate in their hands. The same applies to you. Without walk-away power, every other trick in this video is limited, because beneath your silence and standards, people can still sense your hidden dependence. But the moment you start building even a small amount of real options, your posture, tone, and energy change. You move like someone who can leave, and people feel it before you ever prove it. That shift alone upgrades your presence long before your circumstances fully catch up. Reputation is the armor that walks into every room before you do. It is the set of words people automatically attach to your name when you are not there. Serious, reliable, focused, not to be played with. You don't build that aura by talking about yourself. You build it through boring, relentless patterns. You don't gossip about people who trust you. You don't erupt in public over every slight. You handle your business. You keep your word. You show up when you say you will. And when someone disrespects you, you quietly withdraw instead of performing outrage. Over time, that consistency writes a story about you that you no longer have to tell. Imagine a new person asking, "What's he like?" If you've lived strategically, they'll hear things like, "He's solid. She doesn't talk much, but when she does, it's real. Don't mess with him." Notice how that reputation changes the tone before you even arrive. People approach you with more caution and more respect. Machiavelli advised, guarding your reputation more carefully than your possessions, because it shapes how allies and enemies decide to move around you. If you're careless with it, oversharing, chasing drama, joining every gossip circle, you make yourself easy to dismiss, easy to attack, and easy to blame. A strong reputation is a force multiplier. It amplifies every other trick in this video because people already expect seriousness, boundaries, and follow through from you. Live this way long enough, and you're no longer just a nice person with standards. You become someone whose very name signals consequences. People pause, calculate, and remember that losing you is costly, while keeping you close demands their best behavior everywhere. Now step back and actually picture who you are becoming if you live these rules. You walk into a room and you are not the loudest voice, not the one trying to entertain, impress, or prove a point. Yet people still turn their heads for a second. They lower their volume a little. They choose their words more carefully around you, because your standards are felt without being announced. You are emotionally untouchable, yet not cold-hearted. You can care, but you do not collapse. You are hard to read, but deeply observant. You see more than you say. Your kindness is no longer a reflex of fear or loneliness. It is a decision made from strength. Compare that to the older version of you, always explaining yourself, always chasing replies, always forgiving the same behavior, always hoping people will finally understand you. That version was available to everyone and respected by almost no one. This new identity is different. You are selective, principled, quiet, and respected. You do not need to shout that you have changed. Your energy, your boundaries, and your silence say it for you. The wise individual, as any strategist would tell you, learns to govern themselves first, then everyone around them automatically adjusts. If you do not claim this identity on purpose, you will slide back into old habits, and people will sense it fast. No one will ever hand you this role. You have to practice it into existence, choice by choice, day after day. That is the standard you hold yourself to now. Now it's time to test all of this in the real world. For the next 7 days, I want you to pick just 2 of the 9 tricks that hit you the hardest and treat them like a personal experiment. Maybe you choose emotional ice and strategic silence. For 1 week, you refuse to react emotionally to small jabs, and you deliberately allow more silence before answering, especially when you feel pressured to explain yourself. Or you choose hard boundaries and walk away power. For 1 week, you stop repeating yourself. You stop re-explaining your standards. And if someone disrespects you, you quietly reduce their access instead of arguing. You do not need perfection. You need awareness and small, consistent changes. Each time you catch yourself about to slip into the old pattern, you pause and replace it with the new move you committed to. Notice what happens. Watch how people's tone, invitations, and body language start to shift when your patterns shift. If you only watch this and do nothing, you stay exactly where you are, overlooked, overused, and under-respected. 1 focused week can be the first crack in that old identity. Treat it like training, not a performance. You've seen the pattern now. The world doesn't respect blind kindness. It respects controlled power, clear standards, and the ability to walk away. You now have 9 ruthless but ethical tools to build that respect quietly, from emotional ice and strategic silence to walk away power and reputation as armor. Remember why these exist. They are for self-protection, clarity, and high standards, not cruelty. The strongest people do not abuse power, they restrain it. As Machiavelli might put it, it is not enough to wish for respect. You must become someone whom disrespect endangers. That begins with you making a decision right now. If this hit you, claim your new identity in public. Type a simple affirmation in the comments to lock it in. I choose quiet power. Tell me which of the 9 tricks you will apply first this week. And if you want more dark, honest breakdowns of power, psychology, and emotional control, make sure you stay here and don't drift back into comfortable naivety again. I choose quiet power over loud weakness. My boundaries are non-negotiable. I do not chase. I attract through standards. My silence and composure command respect. I am kind by choice, not by fear. I walk away from what disrespects me. I see the game and I refuse to be the victim. For engagement prompts, you can say, drop this in the comments if you're done being disrespected. I choose quiet power. Tell me in the comments, which of the 9 tricks are you going to focus on for the next 7 days? And if this video finally showed you the dark side of respect that no one talks about, comment, I see the game now.